One lonely night, I was alone and I wanted to watch something but couldn't find anything. So I went to sleep, and next day, I was still lonely and alone. I was searching on the internet to find something to watch, but was not able to find anything. I was trying to find any movie, TV show, or anime, but was not able to find anything. Sad, sad, sad. But suddenly I stumbled upon a show called Shameless. And honestly, I was not intrigued by this show, by the plot or somebody described in it by it. But I was intrigued by someone. I was intrigued by this character, this actress technically. I was intrigued by Fiona. Why? Because she was attractive. Yeah, I am that shallow. So I decided to give it a watch, like an episode or two, pretty long episodes, 1 hour episodes. And I ended up liking it, not just because of her. I ended up liking the story and other characters. It was unique, it was new, it was something fun and shameless. So it was pretty fun. So in this video, I'm going to obviously talk about Shameless. I finished all the seasons. I finished season 11. First of all, I will give you a overview, a summary of what I think about the overall series in general, and then I will dive into several characters and talk about how I feel about them. And if obviously, if this is not obvious, this video is based upon my personal opinions. And if you decide to watch this video, know that these are my personal opinions, and you need to accept that. So if you continue watching this video and after ending the video comment something bad because of my opinions, you are a stupid bitch. So let's move on. So overview, summary. I personally really like this. No, that's not the term I would use. I like the show, but I hate every other character in it. Like every person, at least the main characters, almost none of them are a good person. Like none of them are a good person. But I really and why do I like this show? Because it is quite realistic. It is mostly realistic. Sometimes it's unrealistic. Like it gives plot armor to certain characters, like Debbie, Lip, Frank, and Fiona. Especially the last two. It gives somewhat thicker plot armor to these two characters, but it's still quite realistic compared to other shows. It's really realistic. So now coming to the characters that I want to talk about. Let's start with the major characters. Then we will cover the less major characters. Okay. First of all, Frank Gallagher. Initially never liked this guy. On obviously he was made to be not liked. Still don't like this guy, but felt bad when he ended up dying in the end. Like throughout the series I was hoping for him to show compassion, love, get somewhat of a redemption arc, but he got somewhat of a redemption arc. Sometimes he got his moments here and there, but for me that wasn't enough. And my favorite parts of Frank were when Monica died, he decided to no, let's talk about something beforehand. When he finally got his new liver, and that small girl who was in hospital and was basically dead by his side, and he was thinking that that's Fiona. So I thought after that moment, the next season happens, I think after that, I don't remember exactly. I thought Frank would be more of a caring person because he sort of saw his daughter die in a way. Wasn't actually Fiona, but I thought that. And then that scene happened in which, in later on seasons, in which Monica dies and decides to take a job. And I was so much rooting for this guy. And he became a good employee. There was just one kick kick and he decided to go back to his old ways. But he was such a good employee. He was a good. He was an. Everyone in the show is an interesting character. None of them is a not interesting character. Person's mostly bad, and in the end, also Frank was not actually really concerned about his children. Not really like them. He didn't really like any of his children. He didn't really love in a way any of his children. He loved them, liked them a little bit just because they reminded him of him. The children like Lip and everyone reminded Frank of him somewhat. That's mostly the why most parents, in my opinion, like their children. They are a reminder of their childhood to some way. I think so. Then I guess the oldest daughter, in a way, not technically, of Frank, uh, oldest daughter of Frank and Monica, Fiona. Oh, what a beauty! Honestly, what a beauty. But initially, this is going to be the most heated part of the video, in my opinion. Initially, I really liked this girl. Like, I really liked. First of all, she's beautiful, and that's genuinely the reason why I decided to watch this show. Not kidding. That's why Hollywood needs to cast only and only attractive people, because attractiveness sells. Ugly people, who's going to watch them? Attractiveness it matters. Oh, god damn it. So I initially really liked Fiona, but I really liked his. But later on, when Steve left, and she decided to start dating, had a stable relationship and good job with that company, small home family company, in which she got insurance and all that stuff. That was the point where I started hating her. It was, I think, in season 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly. I finished the show in probably 2 weeks, in my opinion, 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not kidding, probably 2. So that was the point. From that point onward, I really started hating Fiona, and I hated her till the end. I'm not kidding. She was a bad person. She was one of the. She was, in my opinion, the person who thought that she's good. She's here, but in reality, she was here. I think. What's the name of Svetlana? I don't able to pronounce it well. The Russian hooker. She, I think, told me once that she thinks she's here, but she's actually here. I agree with that. I hated her. Few moments that I hated her. First of all, she can't. She thinks that she's better than. She is a good person. She is not. She thinks that just because she was selfless throughout her life, now she deserves to be selfish. No, you deserve to be selfish, but you are not supposed to harm literally everyone else in so many bad ways when you are around. Not even your family members, and not even people who are not even related to you or know you technically. For example, destroyed the heart of a really nice guy by hooking up with his brother. Was when she re-met Jimmy slash Steve, hooked and went to on a double date. She immediately decided to hook up with him, and so many instances where she was just basically a slut. Sorry. She was okay. I hate her. I genuinely hate her. I love the actress, not just because she's pretty. She gave some amazing performances near the end of the show, where that car crash, where she find out that her last boyfriend technically had a family. Amazing performances. Those drunk performances near the end of the show, amazing performances. I'm not kidding. I hate the character. The character is interesting. I hate it, but the actress is. I am amazed that she doesn't get more work. She's so beautiful. She's really beautiful, and like she's really talented. I want to focus on that, because people will like interpret this as and just hate the actress also. So I just want to keep the character and actress separate. Oh, she decided to, like that Yelp review lady, where she decided to buy the laundry, and Yelp review gave it a bad review. Think of it as a customer. You, wherever you go, you look up on the reviews, and the review that Yelp review girl gave was true. The place was really bad, and you think that the way Fiona acted in public, doing all that sausage thing and shoving food on her and insulting her verbally, in some way physically also, was right. It was nowhere night. I was there, I would have called the police, or maybe I would have punched the crap out of her. I'm not kidding. That was so stupid and dumb. And I was going on YouTube videos after finishing the series, and people were defending Fiona. That was so stupid. Think of it as a customer. You go on reviews. If the place is bad, and you know the place was really bad, okay, place was really bad, we know nothing worked over there, so that she didn't lie anything, she said the truth. Now I got some dislikes on my YouTube videos. I genuinely don't have a problem with that. Dislike this video, I don't care. I want a reason why don't you like that video. I'm okay with that. Criticism, good criticism is valid. I would have been fine with if Fiona said, like, why, what can you do? Well, she didn't need to know, because question that, because it was obvious through the review and through eyes that what needs to be done to the place. And she's so dumb, she almost lucked out with the apartment thing and with that money thing. She was so stupid that she wasted all that money and bought a place or laundry place without even verifying that the machines and electricity and everything, basic equipments, work or not. That is how dumb she was. I'm not kidding. I was annoyed by her. Went on a tangent. Let's move on to Lip. The disappointment. Since the beginning, this was the character that I really thought would bring the Gallagher family to a rich level, to be honest. Probably everyone thought of that. And initial Lip, like first 5-6 seasons, Lip is my favorite Lip, because that was when he decided to go to college somehow. Very difficult, but the more difficult it was, the sweeter it was, the result when he went to college. Went through hardships during college, which was very relatable, and I loved it. And decided to destroy his college life, and just was kicked out of college, and was given so many chances to stay in college. Like, so many unknown people, plot armor here people, were willing to help Lip again and again and again and again. But since he's a goddamn Gallagher, I guess he fucked it up. And now what is he? Someone predicted during first season, I guess, that he would just knock up some chick and there would be a manager or supervisor at a store market at best. Well, he's even actually at worst. He knocked up a chick that I don't like, don't even remember her name, and now I was expecting another baby, and now doesn't even have a stable job, not even a supervisor, just a mechanic, and probably lost that job also. So disappointing, very disappointing. Lip is one of the reasons rewatching Shameless is very difficult, because I was the guy who was still having hope that, till probably the 7th or 8th season, that Lip can still make it. He couldn't. Very, very. Even in the last episode, when Lip went to some successful place to deliver food, I was thinking to myself, this is what you could have been. So disappointing. Moving on to Ian. Technically only Monica's kid, and Frank's technically I am bad at relations. He's the kid of Frank's brother. Okay. I used to like Ian. Then there came a phase where I didn't used to like Ian because he was gay.
Cancel.
No, I'm kidding, because he was very willing to go to the what's it's called, the military, and I liked it. He was like so fed up of his family, so he decided to go to military. I like that fact. He eventually, I think, in the early seasons, went to military, and I was like, finally, good for him. He got away. I was fine with it. But then we realized that he destroyed so much property, and I was disappointed because that was stupid behavior, and he was not even regretful regarding this thing. So I was like, that was your dream. Technically, was a waste, and I wasted my emotions on you, and got happy when you finally got to the military thing. I was very disappointed, but I gave that a pass, somewhat pass. Then that gay Jesus thing happened, and that was probably one of the most annoying things from me. And then eventually he became somewhat good, because for me Ian was always the one who was quite a sensitive and emotional kid, and I liked that about him most of the times. So eventually he got in a stable relationship somehow. Out of literally all of the people, the gay one ended up with the most stable relationship by the end of the series. Interesting. Maybe that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting, I guess. And I like that. I liked his arc somewhat. Yeah, I liked it enough. He was not like show stealer for me, but I liked him. I liked especially the bond that him and Lip shared. Especially the part where he said like when he was going to the jail. I really liked that part, his and Lip's interaction, and really like in the final episode he said you can keep my half of the house property share, and Lip needed it, so because he's a stupid idiot who could not figure out his future, Lip needed it. So I really like that part also. Then moving on to another stupid person. This one also, I don't think this one will get that much heat. Is Debbie Gallagher. I started hating Debbie very early on. I didn't hate Fiona. I started hating Fiona in fourth or fifth season. I started hating Debbie almost very early on after few episodes. Why? I hate needy people, emotionally needy people. People who are way too much emotionally needy. Somewhat, that's okay. That's somewhat good also sometimes. Way too much. She was way, way, way too much emotionally needy. I hated her. She kidnapped a child because she needed someone. Go out and make some friends. You go to school, okay? That was just annoying for me, okay? I am also alone most of the times in my life. I didn't have that many friends, but I am not that emotionally needy. I never kidnapped literally anything. Not even that. I just hated her. The straw that broke camel's back or my back was that when she decided to basically, she had somewhat of a relationship with a kid, not a dude who was somewhat of a boxer. I don't remember his name, and told him during sex that she's on the pill, and he brought the condom, but she said she was on the pill, and he said okay, I won't use the condom. She's on the pill. And the doctor even told her that the pill would take effect after 2 days or something like that. And she planned it so that she can have a relationship, a family with that dude. She wanted to trap that dude. You realize that, if you are a dude, imagine this happening to you. This happens more than a lot. Okay, it's later on referenced to somewhat in the season where she finally meets a girl who just does all this stuff to get child support and lives off a good life, and it happens a lot. This was so annoying. Trying to trap a dude who has his own dreams, who maybe even doesn't want a kid. You don't know. Ended up having, but you don't know. He is what, 14, 15, not even 14, 15, probably younger. That was so messed up. And this was the point where I hated this character. Every character is interesting, but I hated her. I'm not kidding. I hated that fact. And then the only time I was rooting for Debbie, and that part killed me, that I was rooting for Debbie that was when Debbie was against Lip for the home, selling the home or not battle, and I was hating that I was rooting for Debbie. So I decided that even though Debbie is the captain of the team for not selling the home, I am so rooting for Liam, who was the part of the team, but that was the only time I hated that. And I think Debbie's bisexual, right? She's bi, right? I don't think she's lesbian, because she enjoyed the relationship with dudes also. Now I think you can obviously say that she was a kid, she maybe couldn't tell that she was enjoying, but you can tell if you enjoy pleasure, like, right? I think she's bi. I think. Then the Carl Gallagher, the kid who probably is the most successful kid out of the Gallagher's, in my opinion. Weirdly enough, this kid was probably one who was most likely to become a serial killer when you first started watching the show. He literally reminded me of that Toy Story guy, kid who used to behead toys and make new toys out of their body parts. I was getting really creepy vibes from him. He somewhat looked like that kid too from the Toy Story one. But I really liked Carl. I liked his journey. He was the most stablest journey. He's probably, as a person, my favorite Gallagher. I liked his story of military one. I liked his military training story. Really got disappointing. Some not disappointing. Not even close to how much I was disappointed when Ian was kicked out of military. Technically, not even kicked out. Was whatever. Okay. I like that Carl didn't want to die like that, or he didn't like the functionality of military. I was okay with that. You can change your opinions. He didn't. He completed the course. Ian, he damaged thousands, millions of dollars of resources and ran away using Lip's wrong identity. I didn't like that. I really like Carl's when Carl has used to have a brown blackish girlfriend in school before the military thing, and the girl had used to have a cop dad. I really like all those scenes those two shared, and I really like their bond also. He came even to the airport to say goodbye to Carl. I really liked that part. Um, the police part of Carl is decent. I don't love it, but like it's okay. It's better than all Gallagher's. It's I really didn't like the part sometimes, like where he used in his police job, where he used to think like just because someone is rich he's bad, and just because someone is poor he is good. That's not true. That's just not true. Tried to use his power and the limited power that he had in somewhat wrong ways also. Like those people, the poor ones, whatever you want to call it, they lived in houses for 1 month or so rent free, and was now on a strike to make them live there and all that stuff. That's bad. First of all, you live for 1 month. Even if you are poor, that doesn't give you the right to stay at someone else's property and take money out of their wallet and live in their house. That's just wrong. And Carl was ending up being the guy who was like smashing, physically harming the dude, the man who owned the property. That was so wrong in my opinion. You can call me like a bad person. If I'm bad on this, you're kind of stupid, honestly. Not kidding. Think about it a little bit more. I'm right here. Then Liam. Liam technically had two actors. I didn't know about that until yesterday, where I researched a little bit. Early when there was a very childlike Liam. He was somewhat of a different actor. Then they changed it. I don't know why. Liam is the character I really wanted to didn't know. Like when I was in season 6 or 7, I was like, I want to know Liam's personality. All of the characters I in a way hate. I want to know if Liam can be someone better. Honestly, he ended up being someone better because if you compare Liam's age, he was what, 11, and compare 11 years old Debbie and 11 years old Carl, he is literally miles apart, way more stable than both of them. I'm not kidding. The only weird thing that I had with Liam, and it's not that somewhat weird I guess, but not a deal breaker at all, that his obsession somewhat with the black history and culture, it was a little too much for me. Like he started wearing shit on the road, and even the black kids were like, dude, what the hell are you wearing? Like, I am Indian. I don't wear my Indian shit on the road. I don't even wear my Indian shit in private also. For me, I find stuff like that weird. But I like the kid. I really like the fact that he was the one who was caring for Frank in the end. And this shows that since he never saw what Frank was, he didn't have enough time to really hate the guy to that extent. Like when Carl and Debbie were small, they didn't have that much experience with Frank, so they didn't give up on him, and they were trying to help him whenever he needed him. Frank needed a new liver. Frank got lost. They were there. And just like that, when Frank got alcoholic dementia and shit like that, since those two grew up and they gave up on him, which is very understandable, Liam was the one who was like now emotionally attached somewhat to him. So it makes sense somewhat. Eventually he would have probably given up on Frank. Frank never loved him, to be honest. Since no, there are two more main characters left, Kevin and V. Kevin is probably the only nice guy in this series, a stupid one, but the only nice guy to be honest. And Veronica V, she's decent. I have somewhat of mixed feelings. She's too dominating and too tough. I don't like her that much. I don't like her that much. She tries to control Kevin way too much. I know Kevin is stupid, but a lot of times she just ignores his feelings, and and she's compared to Kevin a way worse parent. Though Kevin was the one who wanted children. Moving on to some important side characters. Frank's wife, Monica. Don't have much to talk about her. I liked her death. I liked the part where she was killed off. I liked it. It was an interesting twist, interesting story arc. I liked the fact that Fiona ended up doing this on her mother's dead body. That was cool. Yeah, that's all I need to say about her. Then, oh my god, my boy, Steve slash Jimmy slash some other name. But his actual name is Jimmy. His father, mother, all used to call him Jimmy. I genuinely thought he would be one of the main characters of the show, like with Frank, Fiona, and shit like that. I genuinely thought he really gives me Mike Ross vibes from Suits, right? Suits, Suits, Suits. I like the guy. I really like. This is the only This is the only relationship of. He is the only relationship of Fiona that was stable, and he really loved Fiona. He was literally kidnapped by a big mafia guy, and survived, came back, and before coming back, he made sure Fiona got big tips and had someone to keep an eye on her, help her, protect her to some extent, and give her tips, big tips, so she was financially stable. And eventually, he came back when he realized that she's engaged. And the way they ended his arc was disappointing. They ended his arc on the note that Steve is not a good guy and always lied to Fiona. That's not Steve. He always lied to Fiona because he needed to. Sometimes the situation was somewhat complicated to explain, but he never lied without any reason. He loved Fiona, and the way they ended it was really bad for me. And they ended it by telling that he has a new name. He is Jimmy. Okay. Fiona also kept dissing him off, and trust me, eventually what I feel is that Steve was way too good for Fiona also. Fiona is literally the worst. I'm not kidding. I like the guy. I really like that Russian dude who used to keep an eye on Jimmy slash Steve when he used to be in marriage with that daughter, Russian gangster's daughter, and that driver ended up giving Fiona a lot of money. I really liked that fact. His arc was good. The actor who played Steve even said that I don't want to come back to the show. I thought he died when he was eventually kidnapped on the boat. He thought he died, and that would have been probably a better ending. Because at least then they wouldn't have ruined the character. Then it would have been, yeah, he loved Fiona, but he was in a bad situation and he messed up. Then it wouldn't have been, he never loved Fiona in a way and he was just a manipulative guy. I hated that fact. I didn't like that fact. I like this guy. I really liked it. But that's what I like about this show also, to some extent, the factor of uncertainty. So many times I tried to predict the plot of the show, and only few times I was right about the plot of the show. Like, I tried to predict the fact that Frank would end up getting a liver, he won't die, and literally at the last second his plot armor came through and he got a liver, literally at the last second. I'm not kidding. It was fun. Then Sheila, another one of the good natured characters like Kevin. She was also kind of stupid because she had a mental disorder, I think. But I really liked the story arc where she was not able to get out of the house. Eventually, started getting out of the house, like when Liam was getting out of the house. I think it was Liam, and Sheila needed to protect him, and she, without hesitation, just went out. It was, and slowly she started counting her steps and went episode by episode, season by season, to more steps. I really liked that arc. And eventually she ended up leaving. She even realized that Karen is not a good person. She was actually a good character. I liked her. I don't have much to say about her, but I liked her. Her relationship with Frank was interesting. Her bedroom preferences were something that I won't like to comment. Moving on, her daughter Karen. Oh my god, I hate her. I hate this character too. This was the first villain for me in the Shameless series. I didn't hate her initially. After few episodes, like 2 episodes, maybe 3 episodes, I started hating this girl. She basically raped Frank. You know it, I know it. Frank was drunk. He was trying to get off from her too, but she did not. And even if you saw the video, you can tell that Frank is saying no, 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 and trying to get away from her, but no, that was not able to happen. He was drunk and not able to control his senses. And I hate the fact that this never gets disclosed that she was the one who actually raped her. Raped him. I hate this fact. I genuinely hate this fact, and I love the fact that she ended up getting hit by a car. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you. Ended up getting hit by a car, and I wanted her to be just bedridden to some extent, not even able to move. But I will take what I will get. She was basically brain damage and couldn't process any information. I genuinely hope she couldn't find good life after she went to mountains or shit with that guy dude. I genuinely hope that she never found any sort of love. I hope that. Also, that arc. Also, I hate the fact that Lip kept on being infatuated and in love with this girl. I hated that fact. I was so much rooting against her. She was a very good villain. For 3 seasons, I guess she played a good role as a villain for me. She was an excellent villain to some extent. But I hated her, exactly, I guess. Then a girl that was way better than Karen, yeah, way better than Karen, Mandy Milkovich. The best part about this girl was basically for me that she actually wanted Lip, the disappointment, to get out of the south side, and she did all the paperwork, spent money which she didn't have much of, and spent money on him, and even said that I want you to take me with you to the university, the good place, the university but I am okay if you don't do that. I don't expect you to do that, but I want you to get out of it. And Lip destroyed his opportunities again and again. I hate that kid. I hate him. Lip taught me something. I'm going to the university in Canada in few months. He taught me something which is very important, I guess. Thank you, Lip, for that. Do not be you. I will never be you. I don't say don't be enjoying yourself. Enjoy yourself. But what you did was not even enjoyment. That was basically destroying yourself intentionally. I don't understand why you did that to some extent. Now I was trying to rewatch some of the few episodes when Lip was in college. And back then, when Lip didn't used to get that many scores and was struggling in university, I was like, okay, he will eventually make it. But now I look at him completely different because I'm like, you never made it. The way you look at others who work hard and try to disown them, that's just stupid. If you dissed on them and made a little bit fun of them and ended up being more successful than him, I would have been okay. He said he would do that. This is the better way, and he proved it to some extent. But now you are just disappointing. I don't want to talk about this character. Mandy was really good. Eventually, we got to see her one last time during in a restaurant where she didn't recognize him to some extent, and to the end of the series, I kept on hoping that Mandy would come back, especially when the Milkovich started playing so much of a bigger role in the storyline. I was hoping Mandy to come back, meet Lip, and hopefully get him back to his senses, even when he had a child and a wife, I guess, whom I don't like. Disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. Then we got to see Mandy's brother, Mickey Milkovich. Well, Mickey's story arc was somewhat interesting too. Not much to talk about for me personally. Yeah, he was having struggling with gay. He was personally gay, had ideas, was struggling with his sexuality. Eventually, was able to overcome it. Really liked the part where eventually when Ian he got out of, like, he decided to go to jail because of Ian, in a way, like that Sammy thing that happened. Then like that, then eventually broke out of prison and wanted Ian to come with him while crossing the border. Ian didn't decide. I like that part also. I thought this is a good note where these two characters part ways, and I thought this was their ending, and I liked it. It was somewhat tragic and somewhat not tragic, so neutral, I guess. Then eventually, when after few seasons, Ian went to prison, I think again. Yeah, I think, yeah. Then he was totally sad and alone, and just behind him, he thought like someone was there who was going to beat the hell out of him or something. Behind him was Mickey. And even though I liked their parting few seasons back, I really loved the scene because I was actually kind of sad for Ian for a few seconds. Like, he was genuinely kind of sad, so I felt kind of sorry for him. And when he showed up, I felt a little bit happiness when, like, because Ian was finally had someone to count on, and their marriage was literally the most stable relationship Gallagher's ever had. Maybe Jimmy and Fiona were more somewhat stable, I don't know, but by the end of the series, they were clearly way more stable because Jimmy and Fiona. Moving on to Amanda, another girl who was way too good for that disappointment. Gallagher. Philip Gallagher. I like that story arc. First of all, she's pretty. Second of all, I like the story arc because she wanted something casual, and it was quite clear she was doing that. And eventually, Lip also started doing something casual. He wanted their relationship was casual. So when eventually Lip was involved with other people, she slowly started getting jealous of him and eventually fell in love with him, which I liked. And I really liked the part that she used. She helped Lip a lot. Another plot armor in a way. She helped Lip a lot, like managing her schedule and all that stuff, making sure his grades are decent enough to get scholarship, and helping him get money also, and a lot of shit. And eventually, I've thought that relationship will go further because his father eventually, Amanda's father eventually said that next internship come to my company, and I was like, okay, this can go work. But it didn't work. It's not Lip's fault because clearly the girl was kind of psychotic eventually in a way, but I really liked her. Maybe it could have worked between those two, god damn it, and Liv would have been way better by the end of the series in a way. She was way more pretty than the girl he ended up marrying in a way, I guess. And I don't know, like she was good. I don't know what I was trying to say. I liked her. Moving on to Kelly, another girl who was involved with one of the Gallaghers, and I really liked. Kelly was involved with Carl Gallagher, and he was involved when Carl was doing his military trainings and all that shit, and I really liked that part. She really reminds me of Malia from Teen Wolf. I saw it many years back. She reminds me of her, and I really liked that. I don't know. She was kind of tomboyish, and I really liked that part about her. And I really liked her story arc and her relationship with with Carl, her father, and all these situations that used to arise from it. The last time we saw her was when Carl needed some help in getting justice for a murder in the streets due to the street lights, and that's the last time we saw her. Really sad. I really wanted their relationship to work. She was, from personally speaking, my favorite female character for Carl. Then moving on to let's talk about a character that I also really hate, Sammy, Frank's daughter, not Monica's daughter. Sammy was initially I liked her. Honestly, I liked Sammy, but and I liked her kid also in a way. Like, he was fun for moments. For he had some moments he should not be overused, because then the series will get boring. He was not that much overused, so it was fun. Sammy was actually really fun. Eventually, she ended up helping Frank a lot. I liked that part a lot, and I really, one thing that I hated about Sheila was when she was trying to keep Sammy away from Frank during that hospital scene. I really hated Sheila for that. That was, maybe I have overcome that hate for her. Maybe I'm not sure now. Sorry, I'm not sure now. But that was a scene where I really hated Sheila, and I really was like, why? She basically made sure that Frank in a way survived. So why are you doing this, you idiot? Control, 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 control. Then basically Sammy was a good enough character, but the moment I started hating her was when she became way too needy, just like Debbie. She was just a adult version of Debbie, and shot Frank in front of the children and other people in the house, and was just acting like a psychotic bitch. I'm not kidding. And I was really happy that she ended up dying. I wanted to see her die, to get more idea of it, to enjoy it. Then she ended up never dying, and in the end, when the finale was happening, I was hoping for Sammy to come back and take care of Frank when he was ill. That didn't happen because she was needy, I guess, but that didn't happen. But it's okay. And one thing I want to talk about this series, for me personally, they always had good villains for me. Earlier it was Karen, who was villain for few seasons. Then it became Sammy for me, who was villain for few seasons. And after for Sammy it was Fiona till season 9, and after that there were no villains in general for me. It started it definitely fall off after season 9 because Fiona left. She was an interesting character, and Debbie I obviously hated from throughout the series, but that they placed the villain card personally for me really well. Like someone I always had to hate. Eventually, I started hating everyone in a way because they were basically so much disappointed slash lip. Then, last but not the least, I guess maybe Svetlana, a side character, Russian hooker, right? She was one of the characters who was basically introduced from very start of the, in a way, of Shameless, very soon, few seasons, like second or third, I guess. She was an interesting character. She not much to say about her. The relationship between her and Kevin and Veronica were interesting. Eventually, I started got really angry with what she ended up doing with the alibi room. She had her justifications, which was somewhat justified also, because Kevin and Veronica were basically not good with the bar. But since they owned it, it was, I don't know what I feel about that thing, honestly. Tell me what you feel about that thing in the comments, please. Not please, why I'm saying please. Tell them if you want to. Her story arc ended with getting married with no prenup, but it's still a good life. You don't inherit a lot of money, but you can still buy a lot of shit and have a good life. A prenup doesn't necessarily mean a bad life. You just won't get that much money, but it's still good enough for you, definitely. The actress who played this character was, I heard in the interview that she was saying that she wanted to end her character in a very bloody fashion of getting murdered in a very bloody way, but the directors and producers said no. Maybe I wanted to see that, because that's the thing with this show. with a lot of other side characters also, they just kill them off. Not kill them off. They just one day they won't ever show again. Like those two neighbors that Fiona had in her apartment, they never showed up again. Their last scene was with Debbie. Okay, and there are so many other examples that characters not showing up ever again. And I get that life is also like that. Hence, I say this is realistic. But I really hated the fact that Fiona never said goodbye to Veronica and Kevin, was never willing to stay for a party, and she was a party person. Whenever something was happening, Lip was going here and there and everything, she was always like, I want to have a party, Gallagher party, welcoming Gallagher party, whatever. I really hated that fact, honestly. And one more thing I think I need to talk about, which I'm forgetting, yeah, the finale. The finale was decent enough. I really hate the I like the flashback that Frank had on his deathbed, basically. But I really hated the fact that in his letter he never mentioned Fiona, and I was really hoping that Fiona would end up appearing, but she didn't, I guess. I really hated that. You can say that what Frank said about Fiona, that she was beautiful but always so angry as a child, can be applied what he wanted to say to her as an adult, which can also be very applicable, I guess. But I hated that fact. And it is somewhat funny, I guess, that Frank ended up dying due to coronavirus. I really want to know if the pandemic never happened, because the company that was producing this show have nothing to do with the pandemic. Does that company have any ties with China? Moving on. If the pandemic never happened, pandemic never happened, what would have happened? How they would have killed off Frank, just due to alcoholic dementia, or due to just the overdose, shit like that? I don't know. Want to know, but probably won't know. I don't know about the spin-off. I really wanted these Gallaghers to just split up and have their own spin-off series also. But in the end, that didn't happen. The show was decent enough. If somehow it gets another season, probably won't. I would definitely watch it. I liked it. I like every character. I like every character as they're interesting. I don't like them as a person. It's a show that I hate, that I love, because I hate every character, mostly every character. But I love that it doesn't go the conventional way and doesn't give that much plot armor to a lot of characters. I like that about the show. Let's end on that. Okay, so if you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you. Bye.